Hello, glad you can join us. Here's what's happening on this Thursday. A tightly knit community shaken after a stunning arrest.
I don't know what else to say. It's shocking.
A teenager charged with a brutal crime involving an 8-year-old girl. Brazen shots fired at a celebrity restaurant.
This is never and was never about banning books.
Plus, Alberta's plan to restrict some books in schools.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
A shocking turn of events for a small community in rural eastern Ontario. A 17-year-old is accused of assaulting an 8-year-old girl with injuries so severe, officials say it's remarkable she survived. Police originally believed the child was attacked by an animal. CTV's Katie Griffin is in Quadeville. Katie?
There is a lot of shock and sadness in this community today. It is a place where everyone knows everyone involved, and many say that makes this even harder. We've seen investigators going door to door speaking with residents after the news that a 17-year-old boy was charged with attempted murder and sexual assault with a weapon in connection with an attack on an 8-year-old girl. Residents say they're in disbelief.
Devastated, heartbroken. I don't know what else to say. It's shocking. I'm numb.
A lot of community members are, how can this happen in our community? And how do we understand that we can move forward and make it better for our community?
The girl had initially been reported missing the night of June 23rd and was found by the Ontario Provincial Police K-9 unit critically injured a few hours later. Her injuries were so bad, some in the town said it was a miracle she was even alive. Police initially suspected it might have been an animal attack, but didn't rule out human involvement. Yesterday, police announcing that samples taken from the victim's wounds revealed no traces of animal DNA.
Investigators can't pigeonhole or just totally tunnel vision an investigation. They have to look at all other aspects. So the investigation continued in many ways. One of them resulted in this 17-year-old being arrested this week and charged.
A lot of residents have expressed frustration with police, wanting to have been told more information sooner. Ontario Provincial Police say they recognize there are a lot of questions and concerns from the community, and they will be hosting a town hall on Saturday. Katie Griffin, CTV News, Quadeville, Ontario.
An investigation is underway by RCMP in British Columbia into what is believed to be another politically motivated shooting. It happened in the same Vancouver area community where just 2 years ago, an act of violence caused a major diplomatic rift between Canada and India. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson now on the target and what we're learning about the shooting. Andrew.
Sandy, police say multiple gunshots were fired into a Surrey, BC restaurant owned by actor and comedian Kapil Sharma, and that explosion of bullets was captured on camera. 10 shots are fired from a handgun toward the restaurant Caps Cafe. In the video posted to social media, police say they are analyzing. The shooting happened just before 2 a.m. when staff were still inside. No one was hurt.
It's still too early to determine what the motive behind the incident is, but in the coming days, what they'll be looking to do is try to determine whether it has any connection to any other past incidents.
News outlets in India are reporting that a Khalistani separatist leader has claimed responsibility. I've spoken with the pro-Khalistan group Sikhs for Justice, who claim those reports are part of an Indian government misinformation campaign targeting Sikh separatists. They are also referencing the June 2023 murder in Surrey of Khalistani separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. 4 Indian nationals were charged in the murder, and former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused agents of the Indian government of being involved, which strained relations with the world's most populous nation. Despite an ongoing RCMP investigation into the Nijjar case, Canada and India have agreed to re-establish diplomatic ties after Prime Minister Carney invited Indian Prime Minister Modi to the G7 summit in Alberta. Sandy.
Thanks, Andrew. Dramatic scenes in Saskatoon where officers chased a suspect on a rampage through the city in a stolen truck.
And we're just kind of passing the food bank and I hear the big bang Like, he shot at the truck and like, holy smokes.
The 40-minute pursuit during yesterday's morning rush hour left a path of damaged cars. After several attempts to stop the truck, the suspect was driven off the road into a ditch. A 32-year-old was taken into custody. Now, before the chase, police say the suspect assaulted a taxi driver, stole the cab, and then robbed a convenience store. Well, Industry Minister Melanie Joly is saying that Canada will fight back against Donald Trump's 50% tariffs on copper. The U.S. president is threatening to impose the hit on August 1st. It comes with 11 days left until the deadline to come up with a Canada-U.S. trade deal. Let's bring in CTV senior political correspondent Mike LeCouture. And Mike, tell us where things stand.
Sandy, the Canadian government is digging in on its vow to push back after the U.S. president announced the date for those copper tariffs late yesterday.
We'll fight against it, period.
A defiant declaration from Canada's industry minister talking about the threat of 50% tariffs on Canadian copper. While meeting the Vancouver Board of Trade, Melanie Joly said protecting jobs remains the government's focus in this trade war.
We denounce these illegal tariffs, and we think that they're a direct attack against our workers and now on the in the copper industry, and so we'll fight against them.
While the fight continues on one front, negotiations also continue with the U.S. Today, the Foreign Affairs Minister said she believes a deal can get done before Canada's self-imposed deadline of July 21st.
This is an effort that we are putting all our weight behind. I will say that we are still hopeful that an agreement can be achieved indeed.
But what kind of agreement remains an open question for some trade experts.
We're talking about a full-bore renegotiation of the trade agreement, then I don't think anyone thinks that that can be done in the next 11 days.
It is a hugely asymmetrical relationship.
Deanna Horton should know. She helped negotiate the first North American Free Trade Agreement, and she believes Canada needs to buy some time to expand other trading partnerships.
For every effort that is being made on trade diversification is something that will have to be implemented as quickly as possible, but these things all take time.
It's part of why Minister Anand is in Malaysia right now, pushing to get a free trade deal with a bloc of 10 Southeast Asian nations. Sandy?
Okay, Mike. Another challenge ahead, government employees bracing for layoffs as the Prime Minister looks to cut back on overall spending. Cabinet ministers have been asked to find a 7.5% savings. It has many concerned the cuts may be doable, but not without consequences. CTV's Abigail Beeman now with a new savings target. And Abigail, just how big a number is it?
Sandy, a senior government source tells us the Liberals are looking to find $25 billion in annual savings within the next 3 years, so a very big number.
I have a simple rule: spend less, invest more.
A new promotional video from the Prime Minister addressing what everyone in Ottawa is talking about, the call for big savings.
I will balance our operational budget in 3 years. We'll spend what we need to with the money we already have.
But neither Mark Carney nor his ministers are talking specifics about potential chopping block targets, with a new goal to save $25 billion annually within the next 3 years.
I'm pretty thorough and I do my homework, and I'm going to do that before I have this type of conversation.
That $25 billion is a very large number.
The president of the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada wants to know more, worried about the possibility of cuts to jobs in Canada's meteorological service, warning of serious weather, for example, or food inspectors warning about food safety.
I'm really concerned that, it's not going to be just looking to find people through attrition. It's really going to cut deeply, and I think it really truly will affect service to Canadians.
So net, the actual number of public servants might actually stay the same.
Sahir Khan of the Institute of Fiscal Studies and Democracy does not expect immediate mass layoffs or impacts to services. He says it's more about reallocation to the new government's new priorities.
You're going to see public servants kind of have to go where the money is. So if your area is kind of getting de-emphasized in defense, RCMP, other areas, CBSA are getting emphasized, the money and the jobs are going to go there.
The call to Cabinet to find savings only went out this week with an end of summer deadline. We'll have to wait until the fall budget to get serious specifics. And even then, this budget may not tell the full story. It's likely to be a multi-year exercise. Sandy?
Abigail, thank you. Now, Ottawa is also stepping in to help car dealerships forced to pay EV rebates out of their own pockets. CTV News has learned that help is on the way after the program was abruptly stopped in January when it was apparently overwhelmed by Tesla claims. CTV's Adrian Gabriel now on what we've learned and how it will work. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Sandy. That's right. For months, we've heard Canadian car dealerships claim that Tesla drove away with millions in EV rebates, leaving independent dealers out of pocket.
A controversy that began following an electric sales weekend.
This has been a 6-month hardship for small independent dealerships across the country that have been owed $11 million by Transport Canada.
On Friday, January 10th, car dealerships across the country received this email from Transport Canada saying in part, due to the high uptake, the EV rebate program will be paused in a few weeks. That weekend, a handful of Tesla locations across Canada reported the sale of 8,600 vehicles, amounting to $43 million in taxpayer-funded rebates. By that Monday, the federal program was closed.
Dealers paid out money to customers with the commitment to the Government of Canada that the dealers would then be reimbursed.
CTV News has spoken with some of the 200 independent dealers across the country who are out of pocket a combined $11 million, some asking that we hide their identity to protect their business.
In my case, we're talking over $400,000 loss. Huge impact.
Following a months-long investigation...
Can't say anything.
You can't say anything at all? CTV News has now learned that Transport Canada will allow all car dealers, including Tesla, to submit any historical rebates that were paid out to customers before the program was abruptly closed in January, sending out this email informing dealerships of a webinar this coming Friday and Tuesday outlining an important update. Transport Canada has also told CTV News they're looking at starting a new program, saying in an email that they're looking at ways to reintroduce a purchase incentive worth up to $5,000 that supports Canadian workers, strengthens our domestic supply chains, and reflects the times we're in.
I think we're going to see a renewed rebate program, and it's going to have some filters there that say the qualifying vehicles either are made in Canada or have substantial content from Canada. There isn't one Tesla production plant in Canada.
The country's Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association is also calling on Ottawa to scrap the GST for all made-in-Canada vehicles, not just offer incentives for EVs. That's something the Conservatives campaigned on during the last federal election. Sandy.
CTV's Adrian Gabriel. Well, Manitoba has declared a province-wide state of emergency for the second time this year as raging wildfires threaten northern communities.
We need access to more facilities to be able to shelter this large number of Manitobans who are being forced to flee their homes.
This is the province's worst wildfire season in 30 years, with more than 100 fires burning. The military is helping to airlift more than 4,000 people from the remote Garden Hill First Nation. The town of Snow Lake, north of Winnipeg, has also declared a mandatory evacuation order.
Had to struggle to get food up to the community quite often.
And the community of Pachunak in northern Saskatchewan has also declared a state of emergency, with the only road in and out cut off by fire. The most vulnerable residents are being airlifted to safety, with 56 wildfires burning in the province. Still ahead, colleges coming up short.
One of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history.
The factors testing the bottom line. Alberta's government says it's removing books with sexually explicit content from school libraries and restricting some other content for students in grade 9 and under.
Until now, Alberta schools had zero standards for selecting age-appropriate books for libraries.
The province's education minister announced the new standards today. Content with a clear or detailed description of a sexual act will be removed for all grades, and students in grade 9 and younger will not be allowed to read about puberty, menstruation, or breastfeeding. Now in Ontario, massive layoffs with nearly 10,000 jobs lost across dozens of colleges. CTV senior correspondent Heather Wright now on why and the implications going forward. Heather, what do you have?
Well, Sandy, this really comes down to the significant drop in international students enrolled at post-secondary schools here in Ontario and across the country. We're here at Centennial College, the Story Arts Centre, and this building is going to be shut down next year because of this low enrollment. And this has had a significant impact on the bottom lines of post-secondary institutions because, in part, international students pay more in tuition than domestic ones.
The union that represents about 55,000 college faculty and support staff say they are worried about the future of colleges in the province, especially ones that provide accessible training for jobs in the skilled trades, nursing, and emerging technologies.
We're seeing one of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history, with at least 10,000 job cuts by the end of this year.
Post-secondary schools across the country are feeling the pinch from the drop in international students, a reduction put in place by the federal government to reduce immigration numbers, in part to address the housing crisis. But analysts say Ontario is being hit the hardest as it had the highest number of international students, and many schools relied on their tuition to make up for budget shortfalls.
In many cases, they've had their ability to raise domestic tuitions capped. So they had very few, call it pressure release valves for, supporting themselves financially. And so they leaned heavily on this international student lever.
Ontario is holding consultations this summer about post-secondary school funding. And among the items up for discussion is a tuition freeze that has been in place since 2018. Colleges and universities are asking for it to be lifted. Sandy.
Heather Wright. A Canadian soccer star is set to command a world record transfer fee, according to multiple reports.
Nice turn by Olivia Smith. She's still got it. Smith onto her left foot. Oh, it's a beauty!
Toronto's Olivia Smith, who grew up playing in Whitby, Ontario, is being transferred from Liverpool to Arsenal for more than £1 million. That's about 1.8 million Canadian. She'll be the first woman to break the £1 million milestone.
Everybody engrossed.
Well, everybody except actor Hugh Grant. The 64-year-old actor was spotted sleeping during a men's quarterfinal match at Wimbledon yesterday. The sunglasses couldn't quite hide the nap that was being taken in the royal box. An earlier clip did share on Wimbledon's Instagram account that the actor was a little more alert, but that was at a different match. Okay, more news coming up when we come back. Some hope for Canadians who live with a rare inherited disorder called Fabry disease. It's caused by a gene mutation that can cause pain in early childhood. New research from Dalhousie University using gene therapy is having positive results. As we hear from CTV's Paul Hollingsworth.
It's vacation getaway day for Ryan DeVoe and his family. DeVoe may appear healthy, but he lives with Fabry disease, which leaves the body unable to break down fatty materials, which can cause organ damage and a shortened lifespan.
There's a buildup around certain organs like my heart, my kidneys, potentially in my brain, of this stuff that my body can't break down.
For nearly 2 decades, DeVoe relied on enzyme replacement therapy, which required routine trips to a specialist. Enter Dalhousie University's Dr. Michael West, the co-author of groundbreaking research on gene therapy.
We designed a study to look at the feasibility of gene therapy in Fabry disease and also the safety of this procedure. And so we were the first gene therapy trial in Fabry disease.
The trial started in 2016 and involved 5 patients, including DeVoe. To put it in simple terms, researchers didn't treat the gene linked to Fabry disease. They instead used stem cells from bone marrow to produce a copy of a normal gene.
And after 6 years, we still have evidence that the new gene is still in these patients and still working.
Gene therapy research needs more testing before it becomes conventional medical treatment. There is no cure for Fabry disease, but DeVoe says this latest trial has improved his health. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
A huge prize at a Paris auction today for the original Birkin bag, going for 8.58 million euros. Translated, more than 13 million Canadian. The bag was created specifically for singer, actress, and activist Jane Birkin in 1985. As the story goes, while on a plane, she met the CEO of Hermes, a company rooted in making horse saddles, and complained about her overstuffed bag. Hermes then fashioned a larger custom bag modeled after a style used to carry a saddle. After the break, in loving memory of a brother, an inspirational ride reaches the end. Daryl Fox has come to the end of the road. Fox, the brother of Terry, whose Marathon of Hope inspired Canadians 45 years ago, took on the challenge of cycling across the country, an emotional journey he wanted to complete in memory of his remarkable sibling. CTV's Garrett Barry caught up with the team in St. John's. And Garrett, how are they doing?
Sandy, after more than 7,000 kilometers of cycling, Daryl Fox arrived here, a place called Mile Zero in St. John's. It's the very place where his brother Terry started his journey more than 45 years ago.
For 1 month and 1 day, Daryl and a team of 7 other riders have traveled throughout the country, pushing through the hills and the heat from Vancouver to Thunder Bay to here, the end of the road in St. John's.
I always feel emotional. I've accepted that a long time ago, that, part of the healing process is showing emotion.
This is Daryl's biggest journey yet, retracing in reverse his older brother's footsteps.
I was tired in 1980 getting up every morning at 4:30, and I wasn't running a marathon a day on artificial leg. So to be on the other side really proved to me that what Terry did was incredible. I don't have words to describe it.
The fundraiser has taken in more than $1 million for the Terry Fox Foundation, hitting the group's fundraising goal.
I'll never forget one of the receptions in Toronto when it reached a peak, the Marathon of Hope reached a peak, and he was asked, what do you hope comes from all the support you're getting here today? And he said, more money.
Even 45 years later, Terry Fox still stands tall, and this ride is just more evidence of the young man's lasting impact. Sandy.
For sure, Garrett. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm Sandy Rinaldo. Your local CTV News is coming up. Be well. Bye for now.